since music is, in point of fact, reflexive of the society in which we are living. And then music and all art, of course, can shape the way societies form.
Interesting because from an evolutionary perspective, you would think of organisms evolved just to have adaptations that really help them survive and reproduce ultimately, and music doesn't on the surface look like it does any of that. It almost looks like a waste of time. I think that music's an important part of the human evolutionary story. I think a lot of the creative arts are. I think that people have used creativity to court mates, as an example. I think people have used creativity to sort of entertain and intrigue other people.
Science and music are we're very much one and the same in some respects. The actual sound itself is a physics. It's a wave of air molecules being stretched and compressed. So anywhere you deal with waves, sound waves are acoustic waves, and so there's so much science involved. And also, as humans, the way we hear sound is really, really awesome. I read a book recently called "This Is Your Brain on Music" by a physicist who looked at when we hear sounds, when we hear a certain frequency of the audio, our neurons in our brain are actually firing at the same frequency, which is not true for any other stimulus. So there's this hardwired connection, which I found really, really fascinating. So there's the science part, and then obviously the part that makes it, you feel good when you listen to music. So I think there's a very, very interesting connection there.
So if we're listening to music in a receptive place, or if we're actively playing music, it can change the way our brain chemistry functions. And so if we're listening to music or being proactive, it might reduce hormone levels like cortisol, which is our stress hormone. It might actually increase serotonin, which helps us to decrease stress and also to reduce pain.
Kind of wake up and play music right away. I'm also a big fan of vinyl. I grew up listening to that with my mom.
I think music always gives me something to maybe fall back on and be kind of grounded on, and it's just always been a great hobby for me. And I guess it's an escape is what I use it for, because there's the day-to-day work that we do, and I really enjoy that music for me has never been a money-making endeavor or a job. So it helps me have something completely different to focus on.
I remember my dad singing to me as a kid as lullaby going to sleep, and it's an old jazz standard called Bye Bye Blackbird, and so that's my earliest song memory, I would say.
My earliest memory of a song would have to be driving in the car with my mom. She would play the song American Boy by Estelle, and even to this day, that song is a banger. I love that song.
I actually come from an Indian family, and we have a traditional Indian band, and so everyone in the family played an instrument. And so I started playing Indian percussion at age 10, there's an instrument called a dole, which is a two-sided drum. Then I started playing rock and roll drums around probably 15. I picked up bass at, let's say, 16, guitar at 20. So throughout my life, I've been playing different instruments.
I started playing guitar when I was about maybe 11 or 12, something like that. So it would have been about 1981.
I think I get a little different feeling from each instrument I play. With drums, I kind of get kind of a super high, kind of like a motion, like a moving, I'm doing a lot of motion, obviously, which I am with my hands and my feet. So it's almost like I'm playing a sport. That's how I would describe how I'm feeling when I'm playing drums, because it's like a high. Playing bass or guitar, I feel sort of warm, I would say.
Playing guitar is such a blessing, and it's such a great way to just sort of be in the moment and take myself away from everything else and just create things that are delightful or interesting or fun, that express emotions or feelings or thoughts that I have.
When I play piano, I don't play with anyone else, so it's just a solitary thing. So I kind of lose that grasp of I'll never play really for anyone else. With a band, it's so much fun because we can communicate via music. We're all working towards a common goal, and especially when we're practicing for a gig, we all have that that same like mindset of like, let's make this the best possible. So I love playing with people. It's like much better than playing solo.
The band is Questionable Authorities. Here's one of our posters up there, one of our flyers. We've been around since 2003, so we like to say we've been around longer than the Beatles. We're all professors, and so there's myself in the psychology department, Brian Oback in sociology, Annie Rochelle in sociology, Raj Pandya in physics and astronomy, and Maureen Morrow in biology. Our founding drummer, Peter Kaufman, very unfortunately passed away 4 years ago to lung cancer. Never smoked. Really very huge loss. He was a wonderful guy, great musician, but we're fortunate that Raj is also very good at drums and has joined us. And we play usually at Snugs.
Yes, I definitely feel a different connection playing with others than I feel playing alone. It's like a totally different thing. Playing in a band, I think, is the most fun because we're all working together to make, a sound that's greater than just individuals. I know it's kind of cliche, but like the sum is greater than the whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
Music can be very community building, so there's entire communities based on shared music interests or concerts that people go to or sort of musicians that people follow, and so it really has so many benefits to sort of fulfilling us at the individual and the community levels, and I think that's partly what its evolutionary significance is.
When we're together, we kind of think about the crowd reaction is a big deal for us. It's not always like that for different bands I play in, but for that particular band, we just like to have a good time. We like to play something somewhat well known so that people can connect with it, and something that's going to be a little like upbeat.
Is the method of listening and absorbing and being sort of more passive, shall I say, although it's not necessarily a passive act, but we're receiving the music.
I just felt a deep connection to the songs even more than hearing it in like my headphones, for example. Like I feel like you can just feel the vibe of everyone in the room enjoying the live music compared to like listening to music in headphones by yourself.